Hi everyone and welcome to the weekly update with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets. Each week I'll take you through the key events I believe will be driving your investments in the coming days. Now this week we have a fair bit of economic data, but the focus will certainly be on the central banks. We've got the Fed meeting on Wednesday, we've also got the RBNZ, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, and also the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, giving monetary policy updates. So we're going to be focusing on these, and the market certainly seems to be sort of moving towards that way. You've had a bit of a dollar rally in the last couple of days, just slightly off the top today, but positioning ahead of this Fed meeting will be interesting, because I think the Fed, it isn't really going to be a meeting that contains a whole lot of surprises. You haven't got a press conference, for example, and the chances of there being a rate hike this month are extremely low. In fact, the market's pricing it around about 2%. However, we have got the statement that could contain a few clues potentially for perhaps a rate hike in June, although still the markets are not really sort of pricing in a June hike. Some subtle changes to the statement could give us an indication whether the Fed's ready to go or not. And what we've had also recently is this the sterling rally, which has been an increasingly interesting move, because we've seen President Obama wading in with the Brexit debate, whether he believes the UK should be in or out of the European Union. He believes the UK should be in, and the sterling has appreciated on the back of that. So an interesting move there. And so we've got this economic data to look forward to, a bit of growth data, a bit of inflation as well, and it was all sort of building up nicely, I think, for the end of this week. So where are we looking at in terms of the forex markets? Well, we've seen the dollar, as I said, slightly strengthening in the last few days. We've seen the euro coming off the top and coming back towards the 111 figure area. That is still a possible area that I'm looking out for. The near-term correction coming back to, I'm still positive on the euro, above that on a medium-term basis though. Now in terms of cable, as I said, we've seen the sterling price appreciating, and that's pulling cable higher, and it really is testing some key resistance levels. The March highs around about sort of 144.60 to 145.15 is the key resistance area that is still intact at the moment, but is being tested, and it'll be very interesting to see if sterling can continue to strengthen and push through those levels, because it would be a breakout if it did. And the other key move has been in front of the Bank of Japan on Thursday. We've had dollar yen sharply higher. That sharp move higher came on the suggestion that the BOJ is ready to extend its use of negative interest rates, perhaps looking at loans, and it seems to be that the market is sort of a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction initially. Obviously the market has been extremely negative on dollar yen recently, a bit of an unwinding of those positions perhaps, but it'll be very interesting to see, because last time the BOJ went negative on rates, had a bit of a knee-jerk higher, and then the dollar yen rate sharply fell away. So we'll see how this one progresses through the week. And also the oil price, as I've mentioned in the report, the oil price is still impacting on the loonie. The oil price is strong, the loonie is strong. That is a positive correlation there. In terms of equity markets, we're sort of getting into the belly now of earnings season for the States. A few tech companies have come out with some disappointing earnings, and we've got the giants, we've got Facebook, we've got Apple this week. We've got a few of the oil majors as well. So tech and energy stocks are the key focus this week for earnings in the States. Earnings season is still not looking all that great, still looking as though it's going to be a sort of maybe possibly a 9% decline on earnings through this quarter, so it's still not great, and it is questioning as to, obviously we've had such a strong run higher in the S&P 500, sort of coming up to some resistance levels, arguably a little bit of a correction near term, but there is some support coming in place, and it'll be interesting to see if that gets tested or not. You've seen a bit of a correction on the DAX in the last couple of days, coming back towards potentially the breakout point, the 10.120 level, which had been a key resistance. That now becomes supportive, and that could be interesting to see if that gets tested. FTSE is a similar sort of looking chart. It had that key consolidation range, broke higher through the 6,237 level. Now it's coming back towards that, and it'll be interesting to see if support can build at that point again. In terms of your commodities, we've got a sideways trading range on gold. That continues to be the case. The resistance continues to be an area between 1260, 1280, where the sort of selling pressure starts to come back in again. It's pulling back towards the middle of that support band, that trading band now. It'll be interesting to see if it can, which way it's going to go, because negative, or let's just say dovish, federal monetary policy tends to be supportive for gold in a negative interest rate environment. And that seems to be what we've got at the moment. Should be supportive for gold at the moment. And the oil price. Well, we've seen the continued gains despite the fact that the Doha agreement didn't come through. We've still seen the oil price holding up. That would suggest the market is pretty positive, I think, about the rebalancing of supply and demand, and certainly seems to be that the story continues to be supportive of the oil price at the moment. The oil rig count, for example, again falling on Friday. It's at around about half the number of rigs that it was around about 12 months ago. So throughout this week, as I said, we've got some first look at Q1 growth for the UK and the US. That'll be interesting, and also we've got some key inflation data. We've got we've got inflation for Japan. We've got inflation for the US and the Eurozone on Friday, but obviously these three central bank meetings this week on Wednesday night and Thursday will be a driver of the markets into the end of the week, so we're looking out for those. So I wish you good luck in your trading this week, and I'll speak to you again next time. Thank you.